good people, we are back again at Victoria Courts with a lovely couple, a couple that writes. And they are here with two books, Diary of a Miaha and Questions of My Youth. This is the wife's book. This is the husband. So let's continue from where we are. Now, you spoke about the wedding. Like you did a very humble wedding because you wanted your focus to be on the marriage rather than on the wedding, which is a mistake so many other people make. So from your experience, like after the humble wedding and how you guys now are having a ball after that wedding, yeah, like what lessons have you drawn from that you chose to go the humble way rather than the extravagant way, and what lessons have you drawn from that?
From my end, I'm just proud that we did what we wanted, both of us, as opposed to perhaps what everyone else would expect or want for themselves at our wedding. So I'm just happy that we did what we did, and after one day at a time, we wanted to model this, that it's possible to actually do what you want to do, and thinking through what you want to do, so that it's not saying that I have to wear a white gown glowing all the way the church hallway, because that's how it's always been done, you know. So that we always don't have to fall back on how things have always been done, or that this is the in thing, or because I want my wedding to be the wedding of the year. Because I say in this book that after the wedding, no one remembers if the groom wore happy or not happy socks, you know, or sad socks. So after it's done, it's so done, no one remembers. Do you remember your own wedding?
You haven't remember which socks you wore that day?
I have better things to remember.
Nice, Okay, what's your take on the set?
Yes. It has always been our wish to think through things. If you asked me, Hillary, to sit on this seat, I will ask myself, I may not ask you, why should I sit here and not here? Or why should I sit here facing you? You see, things like that. But we noticed that a lot of that was missing in weddings. People are not asking questions. Why should I have a white gown and not a brown one? And why should my gown cost more than this amount? So we asked ourselves so many questions. Our overriding factor was we wanted to do good. We wanted to start well. We wanted to start from the church. Yeah. And we didn't want theatrics. We didn't want things which maybe you'd call extras. We just wanted to do good, and we didn't want to form WhatsApp groups of committees. We didn't want to disturb people. We didn't want to humiliate or blackmail our friends that, you know, we are wedding, you have to support us, even if they are struggling to meet their costs, things which we had seen around. So look at it. Today, question number 43. Today, if you invite someone to your wedding, there are a number of expectations that they'll have. In their eyes, only in the presence of such things will your wedding be a wedding. First, food. They will assume a lot of food will be there, and people will generally eat to their fill. Secondly, it will be assumed that everything around the wedding should be lavish. The reception will be held at a protected garden with every decoration meant to impress. It will also be assumed that the invitation letters must be printed in glossy and quality paper and must be hand-delivered. Most likely, it will be assumed that the wedding, for the wedding to take place, there must be an active fundraising. So many assumptions. And the tragedy is, some people have assumed so much to a point that they are in. If you tell maybe someone that, you know, I would wish we do this wedding and the reception can be within the same church, they'll almost say you don't love them. Do we think about these things? Those are some of the questions we're asking. And we asked and ended up with a wedding of 70,000 shillings. Actually, it was 67,000 and some few coins. And most people, and mostly us, when we went to Sagana for our honeymoon, I tell you, we looked back and we were so proud that God helped us to do it. let us think through everything we do. That is our message, especially regarding weddings.
Now, one of the questions you ask is why humans are spending so much time on their mobile phones, on WhatsApp. So I'm wondering, how do you people relate with mobile phones?
I take sometimes guiltily, so I can take a week to reply to WhatsApp messages. So if it was good morning, I'm replying on the third day, then I don't know if I should say good morning of Monday or good morning of Thursday. But that's not a good thing. But I'm not attached to my phone myself. And it's just, we try to, for instance, when we get home in the evening, to keep them away. They're mostly on silent mode. And we came up with this soft rule of no phone calls after 9 because we don't work in a hospital. So we don't expect any emergencies after, if it's work, after 7. You know, it's not possible. That's not an emergency. Good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Question number 18. Who will save us from phone distractions? And there are 2 questions in this regarding phones. What amount of cash price will it take so that we can keep our phones away during meetings? Or what nature of reward can we introduce to get this done? Have you ever been in a meeting of 4 people, for instance, and then all of them are scrolling their phones, and you remain wondering how the meeting will proceed? Soon, you are treated to, that's a good idea. Yes. Oh, have you watched the news? So many distractions regarding our phones. But there is something we forget. What is a phone? A phone is responding to an intrinsic human need. Naturally, as human beings, we need to communicate, we need to commune. That is the reason why, if you want an award today, or if you want something today, the first thing you will do is you want to tell it to someone. It is naturally in us, we want to communicate. A phone is only coming to help it, so that either we communicate faster, or we communicate with more clarity, or maybe we communicate, I think the 2, faster and maybe with more clarity. But again, going back to what I've said, take a moment to think about everything you do. We never think, or we are very slow at it, so we don't look at it in this manner. Some people, we replace our lives with phones. We don't know what they came to do in the first place. So you find it maybe in a house, people are eating, but you know, they're eating, they're scrolling. It is a shame, to say the least. The phones are very intrusive because the nature of the way they are designed is to make us look at them that way, because that is the business model of most of the things that are presented through phones. But what we should always remember is, before phones were, we were as human beings. Before phones were there, communication was as part of us. So it is only coming to help. And anything coming to help should not replace.
Nice one. So Verah, you wrote this book at a very tender age in marriage. I can say that. I've been married for a decade and I can't write this stuff. Like, what gave you this conviction that even with such short experience, you could actually write so much that can help somebody who is probably on the way to getting married? Because the truth is, there are bits that I've learned from this book, even as well, coming from someone who I could say is my junior in this industry.
Where did I get the inspiration? I think it's one of those defining moments in life where you do something or something happens to you and it changes a lot of things. So it really, I cannot place the exact moment where I decided to. It just occurred to me, and I mentioned it to Gabriel, and I mentioned it in the book. I tell him that, how about I just write about these raw experiences, because this is not a marriage manual. I mean, there are a lot of books on marriage, so it's not going to teach you how to communicate, how to, how to forgive and all that. But it's just in this 1 year, and of course, you know this, that after you've been married for a while, a lot of young people, especially ladies, would keep asking me, how is married life? And it's not something that I can say in one adjective. So at the end of it, I say that it's that I could not answer the question about how marriage is in one emotional adjective, but in a spectrum of emotions. The first year of marriage has been one of the best in my entire living. So now, if someone asks me, how was your first year in marriage, I will say it was everything I could have wished it to be. It was too much love, too much laughter, too much hope, too much growth, too much faith in life, too much wisdom in compromise. It was a husband who gives and gives some more. It was also bits of sadness to keep us above the comfort the world offers. It was discovering myself, digging deep inside my soul. It was me breaking free and sharing a piece of me. So that's exactly what I do. It's just sharing a piece of me, of our life together, about where I'm coming from, and what it's not really what I have learned in that, but by sharing, of course, we never know too little at any point in life that we can't share. So it's just sharing, and if someone learns, if you say you've learned something from it, that's an honor.
If you allowed me, I would chip in that. First, about 3-4 months before the decision to write this book was arrived at, Verah swore, and she wrote in a blog, in her blog, Books and Life. She wrote there that she will be hesitant to tell her story. And Verah always is a very decent, very modest person. She doesn't want to talk, she doesn't want to share, she just wants to share just enough to keep her going. And when this book came, I think when you are reflecting back, we looked at it like, this is surely God's work, maybe to talk to someone. And we were traveling home at some point, and we were sharing, and we were talking, and Verah said, I think, these are very important details. So the question which Verah asked, that, how about I write, bits and pieces? The question was asked in Narok. How about we write this? Then she was like, yes, right. And something which now I reflect back, when at the beginning of this year, Verah said, I think I have a new energy. I feel so energetic. She feels very nice. This diary of the Miaha says things as they are. And she doesn't tell you that do the following, or add pieces of advice on the following. No. She just shares her story and leaves it at that. But somehow you get to learn from that. And some stories are of rape, the book intrudes in our bedroom a lot. Yes, it's very intrusive. So, and Verah puts it in a very lovely language. When someone looks at it, it is a very vulnerable book. But we lack such. People are very conservative, hence we miss the truth. But we need the truth. We need the truth. So and somehow, maybe the truth set Verah free. That's why she feels good this year. You see, it could be.
Yeah, she's even glowing.
Yes.
Oh, it's lovely.
So how is it being married to a writer? I'm married to someone who works elsewhere, so I wouldn't really understand this.
I sometimes edit his works, and he accused me yesterday. He sent me an article to edit, and the last comment I made was, "Stop being boring. This is just too plain."
She's a very brutal edit.
She mentioned my book, so I know.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So it's just fun sharing stories. We write mostly. I write a lot of creative writing, and he does a lot of non-fiction articles. Yeah, so they're different in that aspect, but it's nice that he understands what I'm doing and what I'm dedicating this little chunk of my life to, and I do as well understand why he's doing what he does. It's just he's an insider, so we are a team, sort of. Even in writing, I can ask for his opinion, and as a writer, he gives me a closer view of what I want to talk about or what I'm writing than if he wants.
Do you think he understands you better because he's a writer? Like if let's say you're married to a chef, would it be different?
Wow, I guess.
Yes, I think so. And
it helps.
Yes, it does help, and we really thank God that He brought us together and we share the same passion. It even helps us, to do what we believe we should do, easier and faster. First, being married to a writer is a very good thing. This book, I think, Gabriel is mentioned many times in this book.
A lot. Yes. Should have been called
His
Gabriel.
content.
So, at least someone can capture some of the things you will otherwise leave unnoticed. But then, also, remember what I mentioned earlier about writing, or in the other case it was fonts, but in this case it is writing. Writing should be able to serve a goal. We should never, reverse it. So we use our writing as a tool of social good, as a tool to do good. So, when we come together, maybe we discuss something, then, like yesterday we were sharing something, then she thinks of it and says, I think that can make a good article. Then she takes off her phone and writes it in an app called Keep It. Then later on we develop it into a story. We build each other, we give each other ideas, and it's a very good thing to be married to a writer. Though sometimes she writes at night, and,
like you turn on the bed and she's missing.
She's not there. So, that time I'm told that the muse, I'm told there is a muse. So that thing that comes to
that,
you.
yeah. When you can't sleep until you go
You can't sleep until you get right. So, such moments, but life goes on. It's a very
at the moment when each of you wake up independently and realize at it's 3 a.m. and all of us are feeling like writing. So like at 3 a.m. and you go guys find everybody's on the laptop.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
4 or 5.
Those she mostly writes at night, and I write in the morning mostly. But it's a beautiful thing sometimes to be seated on the same table and you just hear laptops.
Yes.
You are both writing.
So do you guys plan on writing, like one book by the Dindas?
If it comes,
Because I would love to read that.
If it comes, it will. Because sometimes with writing also, it's not something you pre-plan on. A book comes to you and then you produce it.
You don't go to a book, it comes to you.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you could talk to the muse, wherever it is, and
send it. Meet together somewhere.
Yes. But we've done many writing activities together, and we hope to do more and trust God that He may use our writing and reading to do His work. So if one of His assignments is to write a book together, then we would really love to do it.
That is nice. So the parting shot, like what do you think you can tell guys about your book that I've not mentioned, because we didn't have so much time. We could have talked about this the whole day. Same to Gabriel.
As I mentioned, that telling stories is I think one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. So sometimes we look at it externally, I'm telling people my story, but it's also that rebirth, and it gives you a new beginning. Like I would really say that this book has given me a new beginning in a way that I can't really capture in words. So I think really we should create the space and be more open with our stories, be vulnerable. It's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. Yeah.
Gabriel, questions?
Questions about it. Actually, I'll just add on what Verah said, partly also to be in good books with her, now that,
Boy child is still
Boy child.
involved.
Yes, so, I would encourage that all of us should consider telling their stories. Imagine for a moment, maybe you may have heard of this somewhere, but imagine for a moment if the Bible was not written. Imagine for a moment if things like maybe the Quran was not written, or if maybe the country's constitution was not written. There was no central place of reference where you can go and you say, it is written here, that. Then you can be able to build on that. Just imagine that for a moment. But look at the Bible, for instance. Is it written in a complicated language? No. Jesus came from here and went here and came here and met this
there,
and this and wept here.
And made wine there.
And made wine here. It is just the account. But look at it. It has sustained. It gives us points to reflect on. Why then do we only wait for our lives to be interesting for us to write? Why can't we write? I came here, I went there, I came here.
I slept hungry.
I slept hungry.
I stole money here.
I stole money here. No, that should not be the case. Well, why do we have to look for things which are non-existent? Who told us that our story is not worth writing? I encourage everyone that you should consider writing your story. Life is a combination of many small things, and Vera likes a book called Million Small Things, or what? She likes
Little things.
A million little things. Very little things. Life is made of little things, but that makes life. Why do we want to ignore the little things and wait for the big one, which most times never comes? It makes us rob the next generation, literally. It helps us to not pass the information to the next generation. I would encourage all of you to write your story in however rudimentary way it is. Just write it. The editors, it is their profession to make the story look good or the story better. There are people, publishers, there are writers' organizations like Writers Guild to help you write your story. Do not be conservative. Don't rob the next generation of your story. Don't rob the next generation of your experience. And write it as simple as it should be. I came from here, went here, came back, did this. As simple as it should be. Let us all write our stories.
So that has been an amazing 1 hour of a show, having these two on our set today. And I'm sitting on some comfy furniture here. It's at Victoria Courts, Westlands. You can pop in, they have like amazing furniture. I would actually get confused coming here because there's so much. So pop in and you'll get something that you can actually take home and feel nice about it. So these books, you said they are found, you can hit them up on Facebook. You go by the name Verah Omwocha or Gabriel Dinda.
First, the books are found at Writers Guild Kenya, and also through Facebook or through social media. You can just check Writers Guild Kenya, and Instagram, Twitter, Facebook will be able to deliver them to you. However, before you look for our books, we advise normally that you should have a bookshelf at your place. Have 2 or 3 books, yeah? Have a library, home library at home. That we normally recommend to people. So this should be able to build up on your library. And once you have the bookshelf, or you have some few copies of books at home, you may start something we call family book club, where maybe you just take 30 minutes before dinner and you read together alternatingly, and then you discuss what you are reading. So you can decide on one book as a family and read. So these books should be able to build on the family book club and also to build on the library you are building at home. Everyone should have a library at home.
Now, that's a nice piece of advice. So remember to hit us up on social media, KTN Home, and on Twitter is KTN Home_. And let's do this again next week. See you.